Right now on the National Weather Desk, winter returns to northern New England.
It's been snowing here in Portland, Maine since late last night.
New details on how those California storms impacted the drought as President Biden visits the state.
We know some of the destruction is going to take years to fully recover and rebuild.
Winter sports fans in the Midwest hope recent snowfall gives them a big boost.
It's not been ideal conditions.
Hopefully this weekend we'll be able to let the sleds go out if the snow keeps going.
And these animals could be coyotes roaming around a California neighborhood, or they could be something else.
It didn't look like any coyote I've ever seen, and it was up to my chest.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. People in northern New England woke up to a fresh coat of snow this morning. 9 inches or more is expected before the flakes stop falling this afternoon. It's really a welcome sight for a region that's used to seeing more snow by this time in the winter. Johnny Maffey shows us the situation in Portland, Maine this morning.
Good morning, Angela. It's been snowing here in Portland, Maine since late last night. And all morning long, part of I-295 here near downtown has been blocked off thanks to a truck spinning out. Now, we've already gotten a half a foot of snow in southern Maine, and we're expecting a few more inches. I talked to crews yesterday who have been working throughout the storm to clear off the roads, but they are still slippery. Drivers need to take it slow, and they are ready, the crews and the plow drivers, to hopefully clear as much as they can off for the evening commute tonight. For the National Weather Desk, I'm Johnny Maffey. Back over to you.
Well, President Joe Biden on Thursday visited parts of California that are cleaning up after a series of deadly and devastating storms. He and Governor Newsom surveyed the damage. Christina Lopez has more from Fresno, California.
Drenching rains, powerful winds, floods, landslides. If anybody doubts the climate is changing, then they must have been asleep for the last couple of years.
Although the floodwaters along California's northern coastline are beginning to recede, this was the scene just 2 weeks ago in Capitola, not too far from Aptos. Waves battering an otherwise scenic beachfront. Small businesses, hotels, even the city's pier, no match for the high winds and storm surge.
Maybe the thing that's most needed in these times is a sense of hope that everything's going to be able to be done. Everything's going to be able to be fixed.
Closer to home in Merced County, communities like Planada continue to wade through flooded waters, prompting the president to approve Governor Newsom's request just last week for a presidential emergency declaration.
We know some of the destruction is going to take years to fully recover and rebuild.
The cleanup just beginning across the state.
And for the first time in nearly 3 years, extreme drought has been eliminated in California. The U.S. Drought Monitor releases its latest map on Thursday. While it shows large swaths of the state in severe drought in orange, there is no extreme or exceptional, the highest drought levels. Compare this map to the one just 3 months ago on the right, and you can see the difference right here. The red and dark red are all gone. And here's a look at the national picture. As you can see, the worst spots are in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Nebraska. Across the east, there's very little drought with the exception of the southeast coast and also northern Florida. Other parts of the nation are also cleaning up after a massive winter storm swept through earlier this week. Folks in Sioux City, Iowa area are calling it the Big Dig. Nearly 8 inches of heavy, wet snow fell over a 12-hour period. The city is under a snow emergency that will remain in effect as long as windrows are still on the streets. Those are long rows of snow that plows have left on the streets. Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, the snowfall was right on time and enough for cross-country skiers to take to the trails. Eric Peterson has more from Green Bay.
As this group gets ready to take to the trails, Lakewood Cross Country Ski Club president Jim Bino says snow arrived just in time.
The snow has been a little bit sparse. We've been skiing throughout. It's not been ideal conditions, and we haven't been able to groom to make nice classic skiing, but we've been able to skate ski and keep the trail open since Christmas.
The Lakewood Cross Country Ski Club maintains about 14 miles of trails in the area. Club leaders say it's a fun way to enjoy the outdoors and even practice for upcoming competitions.
It's nice, challenging terrain that a lot of skiers like to ski in the forest and use this for their Berkey training or other training.
Club member Dale Keller says skiing here in the winter is special.
It's called a silent sport because when you're in the woods, there's a different kind of ambience. It's not like summertime where the snow absorbs all the sound and you're just out and all you can hear is just swish of your skis going through the snow.
Skiing is awesome. It's so fun to glide in the woods and just self-propel yourself and enjoy nature. It's just a wonderful sport. The snow is fresh and white and hanging in the trees. It's like a postcard out here, so it's gorgeous.
And in northern Michigan, Thursday's snow was a welcome sight for folks who love to snowmobile because warm weather and poor snowfall have made it nearly impossible to get out and safely ride the trails. The story right now from Josh Kerman.
It's been about the worst year. Last year we had to cancel some in January, but we were able to get some weekends in.
Skoronsky began snowmobile rentals 4 years ago, but he's been sledding for longer than he can remember. He's never seen a winter like this, and it's got his customers getting antsy.
He calls every day wondering, if we're going to get the snow because they got reservations. Hopefully this weekend we'll be able to let the sleds go out if the snow keeps going.
Right now, Skoronsky says there's not enough snow on the ground to safely ride the trails. Even with a strong base during the Christmas blizzard, most of that is gone now. And as one of the biggest winter economic drivers, it can be hard for everyone.
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating when you're so reliant on Mother Nature and when conditions are kind of middle of the road.
Beach Gnaw and the Bureau are currently preparing for the Gaylord Snowmobile Festival in February, and they've had to cancel it before due to conditions not panning out.
Snowmobiling requires a different set of variables, and you need more snow. Clearly, you can't make snow like you can for ski resorts. And you need a good base, and we haven't had that good base snow.
The festival is still 3 weeks out, but they're keeping a close eye on forecasts and hoping for more snow.
And some other news out of California, what seems to be some kind of wild coyote hybrid has been caught on camera roaming around a Sacramento community. Some speculate, though, recent flooding has impacted sanctuaries or forced owners to release them into the wild. Rachel Wolf has more.
These images tell the tale of a coyote coming close to a mobile home park midday last week.
It just kind of walked away slowly, would look back every few seconds and keep walking, and then it darted off into the brush.
Ben Wilson, an employee there, surprised by its size.
It didn't look like any coyote I've ever seen, and it was up to my chest. I'm 5'8". It was at least up to my stomach.
And where there is one, there are usually two. Check out this video of a pair seen trotting along a nearby trail.
We ran this through Project Coyote Science Advisory Board, the pictures and the video, and they do agree that it looks hybrid, but without genetic testing, a hair snare or something, we'll never know for sure.
Project Coyote has seen the videos and pictures posted online and notified the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. These hybrids, or coy wolves, are typically never seen west of the Mississippi, and they are not a natural occurrence.
That's something that's man-made. We usually put them together to make some sort of a hybrid.
Why are they roaming now? Some speculate flooding or wildfires have impacted sanctuaries or their owners released them into the wild. Residents in that area sniffing out solutions because
seeing the wolves or whatever they are out during the day was a little alarming.
More than 3 million people were displaced in the United States last year, all due to natural disasters. That's according to the U.S. Census Bureau. 1 million of those affected are in Florida, which was hit by Hurricane Ian in September. Louisiana also saw a large portion of its population displaced, mainly due to multiple tornadoes that hit the state last year. The United Nations Refugee Agency has identified natural disaster displacement as one of the most devastating impacts of climate change. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we talk with a NASA astronomer about the discovery of the new exoplanet.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We have a little storm system moving through during the day today. Notice some snow and rain here. That's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Temps are running the 20s and 30s. Now, the back edge moves out this evening, and the sun will make an appearance on Saturday. It's a nice day to kick off the weekend. Heading into Sunday, the clouds start to increase. Our next storm system moves in for Sunday night and into Monday. As far as our storm system from last night and this morning goes, our greatest chance for getting a half foot of snow will be in northern New England and New York.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. During the day on Friday, sunshine returns, a good gusty breeze going, temperatures in the 40s to right around 50 degrees, a little, we'll say at or above average during the day as drier air rolls on in from the west in the wake of our latest weather maker, a cold front that came through on Thursday, and fair weather high pressure moves in as we head into early on in the weekend. That's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast overnight lows. A weak front pushing through parts of the southeast, bringing a little bit cooler air over towards Tupelo, Nashville, 34 degrees, 38 in Birmingham. A few little spotty showers along the front, along parts of the coastal regions of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. But down in Florida, looking at warmer temperatures in the 60s overnight. But then for highs, we're seeing those 80s trying to make a comeback in South Florida, 82 West Palm, 76 in Tampa, slightly cooler at 48 in Nashville, Atlanta, 57.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Welcome back. NASA recently announced the discovery of a new exoplanet by the Webb telescope. Emily Gracie spoke to a NASA astronomer, Michelle Thaler, about this planet and its Earth-like features that have the folks at NASA very excited to learn more about it.
An exoplanet is a planet around another star in the sky. And of course, you know, this is something that changed in my career as a scientist. When I first started, we thought there probably were other solar systems out there, but we'd never actually had proof of them. And now we have proof of over 5,000 planets that are going around the nearby stars in the sky.
So what did the Webb discover? Tell me about this planet.
It's about the size of the Earth, but a little bit larger, something we call a super Earth. When we look out into space, the most common planet we find so far are sort of that mass range of planets. And we think that there might be almost these sort of water worlds, kind of these larger Earths with a rocky core, but huge oceans. But one of the things that we're really looking forward to with the James Webb Space Telescope is that for the first time, we're actually going to be able to look at what these atmospheres are like. Are the atmospheres like Earth?
So does this one have an atmosphere?
This one we don't know yet. So, right now, Webb is actually looking at some of the atmospheres of nearby solar systems. There's one that I'm particularly looking forward to. There's a system called TRAPPIST-1, and TRAPPIST-1 has at least 7 Earth-sized planets. There may be some farther out that we haven't detected yet. And some of these are the right distance from the star to have about the same temperature as the Earth. And so, 7 chances in one solar system, one after another, to actually look at what the atmospheres are like.
Humans in general are always looking for those Earth-like planets. Is that why? Do you think that we all have this hope that there's another life out there?
Well, I know that I sure do. I think most scientists do. So the thing that I think Webb probably will do in the next few years is give us kind of this wonderful conundrum, because it'll say, hey, look, there's a planet over there. And it's about the size of the Earth, and the atmosphere is very much like the Earth. It has oxygen, carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor. And if you have all of those things, as far as we know, that's kind of hard to get without life.
If you are hungry for more information about space, head over to our YouTube page. We have other interviews with Michelle and other NASA scientists. There are also SpaceX launches, interviews, and James Webb, and a ton more. Just search the National Weather Desk on YouTube and be sure to subscribe. And new clues could help researchers figure out when and where the sun's next solar flare might explode. NASA scientists discovered that the top layer of the sun's atmosphere produced small-scale flashes above the regions about to flare. This could eventually help improve predictions of space weather storms. Space weather can affect Earth in so many ways. It can produce auroras, endanger astronauts, disrupt radio communications, and even cause large electrical blackouts. And back on Earth, it turns out there's more than one type of nor'easter, and they're all not the same. Meteorologist Violet Skybor explains from Syracuse.
Did you know that there are different types of nor'easters? There are two main types, and they're classified into two categories, Miller A and Miller B, named after the researcher Miller, who invented this classification system all the way back in the year 1946. So starting with the first type, Miller A, typically develops in the Gulf of Mexico or along the southeastern coast, along an old front, so a stationary front, and it usually travels up the east coast. It intensifies rapidly as it moves up the coastline towards the New England area. And the mid-Atlantic and New England states usually are hit the hardest because of this, right over the northeastern United States. Icy conditions can occur as far south as Georgia and the Carolinas, that pink shading you can see on your screen there. And even severe weather is possible in the Florida area. So pretty impressive when we get this exact type of setup. Now let's look at the second type, Miller B. This is when we have a system that moves in from the Midwest, the middle of the country. And it originates as an area of low pressure, moving eastward in between two areas of high pressure, one over the Great Lakes and one over the southeastern United States. And as it gradually moves east, it weakens as it hits the mountains. Keep in mind the Appalachian Mountains go right through here, and as it moves over, is going to weaken, but then redevelop as a new area of low pressure on the other side of the Appalachians, right along the East Coast. Then it takes a turn. So the warmer Gulf Stream water helps it intensify and turn northward, heading up towards the New England coastline. And as it does, we'll see heavy snow for the New England and mid-Atlantic states, even some icy conditions right along the edge. Again, that pink shading there. And an example is the February 5th to 6th, 2010 North American blizzard, where they got quite a bit of snow, around 2 to 3 feet over Pennsylvania and the D.C. area.
And it's not just nor'easters and major storms that can have an impact on people. Even small things like how much sun we see each day can change how we feel. Theron Zahn talks about it from Seattle.
Just how important is it to have natural lighting in a work environment? Well, a report in the Harvard Business Review cited a study that said 47% of workers say they often feel tired on the job because they don't get enough natural light. And 43% say they actually feel gloomy because they don't see any natural lighting in their work environment. It's just another way that the weather often can affect our health.
Absolutely. And if you're near a window, that means you have a good chance of seeing a comet that has not been seen in nearly 50,000 years. Meteorologist Chris Suchan explains from San Antonio.
Well, over the next 2 to 3 weeks, there's going to be a lot of buzz about a comet in the night sky to view. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan with a comet to view and how to view it and where to look. First of all, this is Comet 2022 E3ZTF. It was discovered in March of last year in California by an observatory. It originally thought to be an asteroid, then it was realized that it was a comet, not an asteroid. It made its closest approach to the sun in its orbit, and now it's heading towards Earth, and it'll be closest to Earth in early February at about 26 million miles away. It has a green look because of the outgassing of diatomic carbon from this comet as it interacts with the sun and the heating. That trapped gas is released, and only has about a 2-day life cycle with that gas, so that's why it doesn't have a green tail, too. It's just around the comet head. Now, a good pair of binoculars or a telescope will ensure better viewing. Remains to be seen if it will be seen with the naked eye. And if you want to view it without binoculars or telescope, you have to get away from city lights, that light pollution in the sky. So some real dark sky for maximum viewing. There's the area to look towards the north-northwest through the night till about dawn. Back part of January into early February. That is Comet 2022 E3 ZTF.
And if you want to see something amazing a little closer to Earth, here in D.C., the springtime is all about the cherry blossoms. We know that. But another tree blooms on the National Mall far ahead of the cherry blossoms. The National Park Service says the Japanese plum trees start to flower in late January. And if you're in town or headed here soon, you'll find them near the D.C. War Memorial. As we head to break, we take to the skies over a snow-covered Reno, Nevada.
Good Friday morning, everyone. It's going to be a pretty quiet day across the area. Taking a look at your weather story across the Midwest. Not a whole lot going on for the day today. Some flurries or very light snow showers, but just kind of a chilly Friday for us. Now, heading into the day tomorrow, we've got our next weather maker starting to move in here. A rain-snow mix likely for a lot of Kansas, and that continues moving its way out to the east as we head on into your Sunday, closer to the Ohio Valley area. But again, temperatures running pretty close to normal for most of us.
Good Friday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan. Our forecast today across the region, we do have a bit more cloudiness across a chunk of Texas into Louisiana with a weak area of low pressure developing out over the Gulf. Actually could get a few sprinkles or a shower as we work our way through the afternoon into the evening. Otherwise, as we head into Saturday, the best chance for cloudiness and a little bit of rain will be through portions of Louisiana, the coastline of Texas, front coming across Texas, Oklahoma, a little windy behind it with a bit of a drop in temperatures as well.
Well, hi there and a happy Friday to everybody. It is still chilly here in late January, as it should be out west. And we've got some snow to talk about as well, especially over the Intermountain West back towards Salt Lake and Denver. Going to see a nice disturbance there, dropping several inches of fresh snow on places like Snowbird and Park City. Some excitement there. 40s up and down the I-5 corridor between Seattle and Portland with a new disturbance rolling into the northwest as we head into the weekend. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Today marks the anniversary for the wettest inauguration in history. January 20th, 1937, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was sworn in for a second term during a rainy day where temperatures were only in the 30s. Meteorologist Emily Gracie has more.
January 20th, 1937, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was sworn in for his second term as president. It was the first inauguration held on the 20th. It was also the wettest. It poured all morning in Washington, D.C., and with the temperature hovering right around freezing, sleet and freezing rain were also mixing in. About 200,000 people came to D.C. for the ceremony, but many never even made it beyond Union Station. After the soggy ceremony, the president rode back to the White House with an open car and about a half an inch of water on the floorboard. By the end of the day, 1.77 inches of rain had fallen, and to this day, it remains the record amount of rainfall for Washington, D.C. on January 20th. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Emily Gracie.
And we would love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk or scan the QR code on the bottom left of your screen. We will be right back. Thank you for joining us as we head to break. Here's a look at a NASA spacewalk taking place right now. I'm Angela Brown. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you right back here on Monday.